Welcome back to the deep dive. Really glad you could join us today, because we're diving into something. Well, something most businesses kind of dread, but maybe shouldn't. Complaints. Yeah, today it's all about how to turn complaints into customer loyalty. You know, that
Mhm.
initial reaction, a sigh, maybe a bit of, oh no, here we go, we get it. But what if those tricky moments, those complaints, are actually huge opportunities? We're going to explore how handling them right doesn't just fix a problem. It can build an incredible loyalty, even turn unhappy people into your biggest fans. It's about flipping the script.
Really is a fascinating switch in thinking. Um, Nobody enjoys getting a complaint, obviously.
Okay.
But the data and honestly, just experience shows how you respond is way more important than whatever went wrong in the first place. There's evidence suggesting a customer whose problem is solved exceptionally well. They often become more loyal than someone who never had an issue at all. So this isn't just putting out fires. It's actually a strategy, a way to build deeper connections and, frankly, improve how you operate. It taps into some basic psychology.
That's the exciting part. It's not just luck or hoping for the best. There's a method, a really effective, almost systematic way to handle these situations. We're going to walk through it step by step. It's designed to turn those negatives into real positives, not just fixing, but forging something stronger. Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts. We're talking about a framework called the HEART method. It's an acronym, HEART, and it gives you a clear path through these sometimes difficult customer interactions. It really focuses on that human element.
Exactly. Heart gives you structure for what can feel like, very emotional or unpredictable conversations. It stands for here. Empathize, apologize, resolve, and thank. What's so useful about it is how each step builds logically on the one before. It guides everyone involves you and the customer towards a genuinely better outcome and a stronger relationship, too.
All right, first up, H for here. Now, this sounds obvious, maybe, but it's not just letting them talk. It's about active listening, deep listening. And it starts with something super simple, but honestly, often overlooked. You have to mentally and maybe even physically just stop everything else you're doing. Seriously, trying to multitask, check email, anything, it sends a message, right? That you're not fully present. And that can actually make things worse, escalate their frustration. Full attention is step one.
Absolutely. It's about showing respect right from the get-go. And there's a psychological element here, too. Simply letting someone tell their whole story without jumping in, without interrupting, that alone often starts to bring the temperature down. Just being heard, properly heard, non-judgmentally. A basic human need. Their brain kind of shifts gears. They feel safer, less defensive, because you're giving them that space. It's a release.
Yeah, and while they're talking, you're listening not just for the facts, but for the feelings behind them. Use little prompts like, okay, I understand, or tell me more about that, or even, so walk me through what happened then. Mm-mm. These aren't just empty phrases, they're invitations. They show you're engaged and you want the full picture, you're taking it seriously.
And then, this is critical, you need to summarize what you heard in your own words.
Mm-hmm.
Not just parroting it back, but showing you've processed it. Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, why is this so powerful?
Well,
Because it confirms you got it, their
mhm.
specific issue. It builds trust instantly. It says, I'm on your side, I understand, even before you talk solutions. It validates their reality of the situation.
Right. Once you've really heard them, listened actively, the next logical step flows naturally. E for empathize. This is huge. It's where you validate their feelings. Now, crucially, this doesn't mean you have to agree with their whole story or admit fault right away. Not at all. It means acknowledging that their emotion, their frustration, their disappointment is legitimate. It's real for them. It's about connection, not necessarily concession.
Exactly right. You're recognizing their emotional state is valid, regardless of your own perspective on the cause. Think about it. When someone acknowledges how you feel, even if they can't magically fix everything, doesn't it make you feel a bit less defensive, a bit more understood? It's about meeting them where they are emotionally, not trying to drag them straight into problem-solving mode before they feel heard.
And you can use specific phrases here. Things like, wow, I can absolutely see why that would be so frustrating.
Yeah,
Or, okay, yeah, that's definitely not the kind of experience we want anyone to have. See how those phrases focus on their experience, their feelings? You're not making excuses or getting defensive.
and that leads to a key point: avoid making excuses.
Hmm.
That's a big pitfall here. If you immediately jump into explaining why something happened or defending a policy, you risk invalidating how they feel. That can just escalate things again. The focus at this empathize stage has to be on their feelings, their experience. It shows you value them as a person, not just a transaction.
Totally. Just stay with that emotion for a moment. Let them feel understood. That connection you build right there, it paves the way for everything else. Okay, moving along the heart path. Next is A for apologize. Again, this isn't always about admitting your company messed up necessarily, though sometimes it is, but it's always about taking responsibility for their experience. And it needs to feel genuine. Sincerity is everything here.
Yes. A simple, direct apology works best. Don't overcomplicate it. Something like, I am genuinely sorry this happened to you, or I'm so sorry for the frustration this has caused. Keep it focused on their negative experience. Long, rambling apologies can start to sound like justifications, which undermines the apology itself.
Oh, and here's a really specific practical tip. Avoid the word but, like at all costs. The second you say, I'm sorry, but our system was overloaded, or I'm sorry, but you should have, you've just canceled out the apology, it sounds defensive, it breaks that connection you've been building. All that work in hearing and empathizing can just, poof, gone.
Right. Taking responsibility for their experience just means showing you genuinely regret that they had a bad time interacting with your business or product. It shows you care about their satisfaction. You wish this negative thing hadn't happened to them, period. It's respectful. And interestingly, when customers feel that genuine regret, they're often much more reasonable and less demanding moving forward.
Okay, now we get to our resolve. This is where the magic really happens, potentially. This isn't just about fixing the problem. It's about aiming higher. How can we delight this customer? Turn them into someone who raves about you. This is your chance to make this interaction memorable in a good way.
Exactly. Think beyond just the basic fix, what would truly exceed their expectations. The goal here is to give them a resolution that makes them think, wow, they really stepped up. A story they might actually want to tell someone else. We know that customers who get an amazing resolution after a problem, they often talk about it more than people who just had a smooth, uneventful transaction. It stands out.
Totally. So pause and ask yourself, maybe literally, what could I do right now that would make this person tell their friends how awesome we were at handling this? And then try to do that thing. Be generous. If they wanted a refund, maybe give the refund plus a credit for next time. Or a small gift card. If something was late, maybe you send a replacement super fast and include a little extra something. These gestures show you value their business long term, not just this one sale. It makes a huge positive impact.
And one last piece on resolve, and it's crucial. Follow through completely. Whatever you promise as a solution, make absolutely sure it happens promptly and fully. No loose ends. If you say you'll call back Tuesday, call back Tuesday. If a replacement is shipping, make sure it ships. Making the customer chase you again, that just brings back all the frustration. It can undo everything. See it through to the end.
All right, we've heard, empathized, apologized, and resolved. What's left? The final T's think. This might seem small, but it reframes the whole interaction. It turns it from just dealing with a complaint into a learning moment and reinforces the relationship.
Yeah, thanking the customer for bringing the issue up is surprisingly powerful. You can frame it as, thank you so much for letting us know about this. Feedback like yours really helps us improve. It positions them not as a complainer, but as someone helping you get better. It fosters a sense of partnership, makes them feel valued.
And thank them for their patience, too. Acknowledge the time and effort they spent working through this with you. They could have just walked away angry, right? They gave you a chance. Recognizing that effort shows respect for their time.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, sometimes a quick follow-up call or email a few days later, just checking in. That really cements the idea that you care about the relationship, not just closing the ticket. And internally, what happens with that feedback is critical. Documenting these interactions, looking for patterns, using this information to fix underlying issues. That's how you turn individual complaints into system-wide improvements. So the same problem doesn't keep happening. It becomes a real opportunity for growth.
So let's quickly recap. That heart method gives you a fantastic roadmap. Hear them fully. Empathize with their feelings. Apologize sincerely for their experience. Resolve the issue, aiming to exceed expectations. And thank them for the feedback and patience. It really drives home the point. Complaints aren't just roadblocks, they're genuine opportunities in disguise.
Absolutely. If you master something like the heart method, you start to see complaints differently. Not as attacks, but as gifts, really. Each one is a chance to build stronger loyalty, to make your business better, and to turn a moment that could have been negative into something lasting and positive.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. The next time you face a complaint, maybe from a customer, maybe a colleague, maybe even in your personal life, stop and think. What kind of story could you create with your response? What story would they actually want to share afterwards? Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you can put these ideas into practice.